I don't consider sewing as a relaxing hobby like any others can be, because it can be really frustrating. If something goes wrong, you can get mad at things or at yourself. And frustrations, there can be many frustrations, but these are mine in particular. And of course, don't be shy and leave in the comments down below all your frustrations, because if we all read about them, maybe we realize we're doing the same wrong and we haven't even considered it. And the first one for me, which I've always talked about and still happens, is to choose the wrong fabric for a particular project. This can be devastating because it doesn't matter. It can be that you cut it wrong, then later maybe you realize that it was the wrong density for the project you want to do. Maybe it hasn't got any flow for the skirt you wanted it to be, and this is devastating because you can't do anything about it, and you've wasted material, you've wasted time and money, and there's nothing you can do really. So I have to keep trying to improve at this. The last time this happened to me was when I did the trousers. I think I could have chosen the materials a bit better because they didn't turn out, or I have a bit more difficulty sewing them. So for next time, as always. The next one is to take my measurements wrong. Maybe not taking them wrong, but taking the wrong posture while trying to measure myself. So this ends up in the measurement being wrong, of course. For example, if I want to measure the distance between my shoulder and my bust, I can do it without my shoulder being lifted. I have to do it with the shoulder relaxed. So things like this, it's a problem because you start working, you think it's fine, and then in the end you can't see what is wrong. So if you do it properly from the beginning, it's much easier. So everything will go smoothly and you don't end up with these headaches. Looking forward to future projects. It has happened to me a few times and it drives me crazy that I'm working on something, but I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking about the thing I want to do in 3 weeks. So I start working really fast and trying to finish what I'm doing. So I do it wrong. I end up doing it wrong and I end up wasting a lot of time because I have to review what I've done wrong and fix it because I want to finish to do the other thing. So this has happened to me a few times. It happened to me last year with the headboard. I was looking forward to doing it, so I ended up rushing through the princess seam blouses, which was a mess because it took me a long time to finish them in the end. And it happened again this last November, I think, with the armchair. I was looking forward to doing the armchair, so the shirts I was working on were a mess and took ages to get done. So I have to stop doing that. Having made a mistake 15 steps before you realize you've made it. This is so disappointing. You can end up in tears, or the thing you're sewing can end up in tears because you rip it apart. It's terrible, it's terrible. It can be a problem of concentration during the process, or because you're rushing, because you need to finish something. But maybe you realize when you're going to put the zipper in that you haven't done something before, and it's terrible because you end up having to redo all those steps, and it's just really disappointing. It's like when you start sewing and you go on sewing and suddenly you realize the machine hasn't been sewing, so you've been sewing air. So more or less something like that. Thinking I can do anything in no time at all. I'm a nervous person, I'm really nervous, I am always rushing everywhere, so I think that I can do anything in 20 minutes, and not even a bread bag. You can make so fast. So that's something I have to really be conscious about, because I get really stressed because I haven't finished something, or something has taken longer than I imagined it will. So I have to chill out, because I end up rushing again when I think I haven't finished, and things maybe don't end up as I was hoping. Don't rush, we're supposed to be having fun in between these two walls, so there's no rush, just have fun, enjoy your sewing. This is really frustrating when I'm making something and I know there's a mistake, but I can't figure out what it is. So I don't know what I should do to fix it or what I shouldn't do. And this happened to me, for example, when I did these t-shirts last week. The first one I did, the black one, was really bland. Like, yeah, it's a t-shirt, it's well sewn, it's okay, you can wear it, but there's nothing special about it. What is wrong with it? So I ended up, after half an hour looking at it, because that's what happens, that I start staring at the piece for half an hour with no result, was that I thought it needed more puffiness. So the sleeves weren't puffy enough, so I thought, well, what it needs is more. But sometimes it's really frustrating when you can't figure out what's wrong. It's the worst, and I think you just have to be patient and don't be hard on yourself. It doesn't matter if you're looking at it for half an hour or for 2. It's just a matter of patience and trying out different things. Being in a rush and taking shortcuts, the story of my life. This still happens to me, and it's just, I should slap myself on my face, because it's ridiculous the amount of time I waste by trying to fix problems or by trying to sew with not the proper tools. I sometimes even not change a needle or not change a foot, just because those few seconds are going to save me loads of time, and it's not the solution. I'm supposed to be having fun here, I'm supposed to enjoy my sewing, and sometimes I make my life a lot more difficult than it should be. So that's something that I need to change. Being stubborn. This is a big one, because sometimes I'm doing something and it's not turning out great. So instead of changing my method like normal people will do, changing the way you're doing it, so maybe you can do things in a different way and this way it will work out better. No. I still do it the way I'm doing it, because in my head it's going to work out just fine, and it's not. There's no need to make your life more complicated than already is. So this is something I have to fix. I have to realize when I'm doing that, because there's no need. Inventory. This is a big one. It happens to me a lot because, of course, I have a lot of stuff because of my grandma's shop. When they closed down because they were retiring, there was a lot of stuff left, and I brought it up here. The problem, well, of course, there are some cottons and some threads that are not as good and break, so those I've been getting rid of. But the rest I have a lot, that's true. But it happens to me a lot that I think I have stuff to start a project and then I don't.
Ooh, I have a lot of that. Oof, I have millions of those.
And I don't. So I come here and I can't start the project because I'm lacking something. So this is a problem because it makes you waste more time, because you have to go out and get stuff. And it's a problem because you end up losing your mind because you can do things. So I have to fix that. I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to be aware of what I have. And when I go to the haberdashery now, I don't just buy one zipper or a pair of this or a couple of that. I just get a few extras, so I have some extra stuff to go around. So let's see if that doesn't happen again. I forget about things a lot. It could be steps to follow, it could be how I did something, but I forget a lot about the things I've done. Maybe I imagine I want to put a zipper in and I forget about something I have to do in between, or maybe someone asked me about a project and I can't remember what I did.
What did you do on this project, or how much fabric did you use? I have no idea.
I have to check before I answer because I always forget about stuff, and even measuring stuff. I guess it has to do with the rushing around and with being in a hurry all the time. Maybe I have to be more patient and pay more attention to what I'm doing, but I usually forget about a few things. Yeah. Oh, and one thing that has happened to me a few times is that my hands aren't doing what my brain is trying to telling them to do, and it's really frustrating. It happened to me with the hemming of this t-shirt and the neckline as well. And it was that I wanted to do the hem this way. I had done it before, it was no problem at all, but I couldn't manage. It took me a while to get into it, so it was really frustrating. You can end up throwing something out the window or to the rubbish, but you have to be patient, I guess. And this has been my frustrations, my personal ones. It doesn't have to do with the machine or any machinery. It's just me, myself and I making my life a bit more complicated at times. So let me know down in the comments what you thought and your own frustrations. It's really interesting to see other people's point of view, and we all learn that way. And don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of content. I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot, and that way you don't miss anything because I upload a video once a week. But anyways, I'll leave you the link to the obvious tips and the things I wish I had known before I started sewing. See you around. Ay, una abeja, eso es nuevo.